Today in cloud gaming news, we have a bit to go over regarding Stadia, and we're going to be taking a look at the latest This Week on Stadia blog post, but before that, I have a couple of headlines I want to go over that weren't mentioned there. Some of you may remember the title ARK Survival Evolved. It launched into Stadia Pro not long ago, and it was a highly anticipated game by the community. So it was much to the community's disappointment that the port did seem quite a bit lackluster. Things like the visuals left a lot to be desired, and the frame rate was locked to 30. Now, many people assume this is because the game itself doesn't actually run well on any platform, and to an extent that's kind of true. That being said, a member of the community, Gem, actually found out that you could type in some console commands to improve not only the visual experience but also the frame rate. The main issue is that these settings would not save, and you would be forced to type in these console commands every single time you booted up the game, and that made it an issue for Chromecast players because you needed to have a keyboard and mouse to do this. So why are we mentioning this today? Well, that's because the game actually got an update recently that improves both the texture and view distance quality. Even more interesting than that is the fact that the game now gives you the option to adjust two graphic options like the PC counterpart. Those two options are view distance, which is now set to epic, and post-processing, which is now set to medium. Both were previously set to low. While not everything has been adjusted that was possible within the console commands, it is great to see this sort of change happen. And I really do hope that this is just the beginning of updates to come to the game. I would love to see them unlock the frame rate, even if they have to limit it to a 1080p stream. I think that would be a fantastic option. The second headline revolves around a Reddit post stating that 5.1 surround sound appears to now be working on Android TV 8.0 with the newest update. I've got no way of confirming this myself as I don't have a compatible piece of hardware with that Android system on it, but if you do, I would suggest you go check it out, go to the Google Play Store and see if there's an update for Stadia. It may be something that's still rolling out, as Google did not mention it on their latest This Week on Stadia blog post, which we'll get to in just a second. But before we get there, I want to talk about Google's offer to ex-Stadia Pro members, as they are now giving a free Premier Edition for those who resubscribe to Stadia Pro. Note that this offer is only being sent to those who are eligible via email. So if you find yourself in the scenario where you used to be a subscriber to Stadia Pro and want to take advantage of this deal, be sure to check your inbox and spam folder just to see if it's there. It's a pretty sweet deal because you'll be paying $10 for 1 month of Stadia Pro, and you'll be receiving a Stadia controller and another Chromecast Ultra to game somewhere else. While I'm sure some current Stadia Pro subscribers may be a bit annoyed that they don't get some sort of offer or deal as well, it is all about getting more members into the Stadia fold. That way it'll be easier to convince developers to port their games over. As far as I'm concerned, this is a win-win for everyone, and I'm glad to see Google making the effort to reach out to ex-Pro subscribers, as they're more than likely to come back and check it out for this deal. Another bit of news that's just come up while I'm recording this is that Stadia has sent out a Stadia research email to some users. This comes from another fellow Canadian in the Stadia content creation community known as Four Scars Gaming. Email survey itself appears to be pretty standard in terms of asking for feedback on your thoughts on Stadia and how it works. There's even a question revolving around your trust in Stadia, and I have to say it's great that they're polling this because it means that they're aware of the current climate that Stadia is in. While the core fanbase within the Stadia community have a lot of faith and trust in the platform, it's easy to see that far outside of it, there is a lot of distrust for Google, and many think it's just a matter of time before Stadia shuts down. If they really do plan on continuing to push this forward in a big way, I hope that this is just the first steps towards changing that narrative. Now with that out of the way, let's get to the latest This Week on Stadia blog post, which is admittedly quite a short one. First up, we have the Mr. X Nightmare add-on for Streets of Rage 4. For the price of $6.99, you'll get 2 new playable characters, Max and Shiva, a new survival mode with weekly challenges, character customization to build your own fighting style with new moves, and new weapons and enemies. The second bit of news revolves around the Elder Scrolls Online Gates of Oblivion. Bethesda will be holding an year-end stream that will begin October 1st at 1 PM Pacific. You can expect to get a look at the latest Deadlands DLC and an exclusive look at the fiery conclusion to the year-long saga. And that's about it. Yep, it's a pretty quiet week for This Week on Stadia, but we can look forward to next week's blog post as we can see the newest Pro games arriving for the month of October, which will add to the library of 30+ Stadia Pro titles. It should also go without mentioning that we have quite a few games to look forward to in the coming weeks. FIFA launches next week, and Far Cry 6 will be launching the week after that. 2 AAA titles that are going to be day 1 releases on Stadia, and games that I know many within the Stadia community are really looking forward to. I personally can't wait for Far Cry 6, I love the setting and I can't wait to check out the world they've built there. but I more than likely will be covering both games on the platform, so you can look forward to my thoughts on each. Now, if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. As always, thank you for watching the video. This has been The Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming and VR related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.